Welcome back to Q-Dads, I'm Steve, and Three Body Problem has finally dropped, giving us a mind-bending sci-fi experience we won't forget, with the Netflix logo even being affected. Now, if you're looking for that next sci-fi show to tantalise your taste buds, then look no further, as this truly delivers. But make sure you are fully awake, as this one needs your full concentration. You're probably asking yourselves if this lives up to the hype, and could this be the next big series following in Game of Thrones' footsteps? Well, join us as we break down the first episode. We'll only be talking about the TV elements of the show, and don't worry, no book spoilers here. We'll be touching more on this extraordinary series, so don't forget to subscribe as we keep you up to date. We start the show in Beijing in 1966, where the Professor of Physics, Zitai, is being prosecuted for his beliefs in science. Even his wife has abandoned his side. He believes in scientific evidence like the Big Bang Theory, but this is not a mutual feeling amongst Beijing. And as a result, he is beaten by the guards and somehow accidentally killed, which makes me question their intentions in the first place. His daughter Wenji is heartbroken as she watches her father die before her eyes. It's an interesting concept to see science being disbelieved in such a way that is a capital punishment to openly believe and teach about theoretical physics. We then get an amazing intro to the show, zooming out from the atoms that make up humans, our planet, and the universe, all the way through to what seems to be three hypermassive stars and potentially the observable universe. We then get a glimpse of Benedict Wong's character, Dashi, as he investigates a suicide in London in 2024. The suicide of a man who has gruesomely taken out his own eyes, with a countdown written in blood covering the walls. This starts the series of deaths in the scientific community. Saul and Vera chat in the Oxford Particle Accelerator about science being broken and the experiment they were carrying out defying all scientific theories for the past 60 years. This leads Vera to throw herself into the Chekhov tank, killing herself in the process. Before this, she asked Saul if he believed in God. A strange question to ask, but a big hint towards the series and a search for some higher entity out there. I think this is the part I'm looking forward to the most. The question around religion or science. How will the show entwine these two very different concepts? And will the show lean towards one more than the other? We then jump into a bar with Jin and Augie, who try to discuss the fact that every particle accelerator around the world has started generating incorrect results. The song Piano Man by Bill Joel is playing, which shortly after the song cuts, the lyrics are meant to be,
"Son, can you play me a memory? I'm not really sure how it goes."
Is this a nod to the rest of the series? As later in the episode, they enter this reality, which could be a distant memory of the universe, and our group now have to play through this game to unlock how it all works. Augie then starts seeing gold particles, which turn into a countdown that seems to be continually there, worsening as it gets closer to zero. We then jump to Vera's funeral, where we see the last two members of the group, Will and Jack. They all gather reminiscing about Vera when Michael Evans rocks up to pay his respects. And as he leaves, Dashi follows him. Now this is one of the most intriguing points of the first episode, as I'm not really sure who this is, or his involvement with Vera, as he didn't seem to acknowledge the rest of the group. Did Vera have a countdown? And was this man the man that tried to convince her to put her faith in God? Was Vera too late and her countdown hit zero? Or is this simply the man that's funding the accelerator and cut the funding to Vera? The group then chat later that evening, and Jack's comedic approach ticks everyone off, and if I'm honest, it's slightly too much for me too, but I'm hoping he grows on me for the rest of the series. A woman then confronts Augie about her countdown and asks the question, has the universe ever winked at you? Which is baffling until the final. Even more baffling then. We jump back to 1967 for a short time, with Wenji living at a work camp, chopping down trees, to remove the science-believing people of Beijing. And I just want to point out how cruel the woman is, throwing an ice-cold bucket of water on Wenji. Not nice. She is then introduced to the Red Coast Project, which is where they are conducting frequency experiments for communicating to something else out there. Jin talks with Vera's mom, Here we see a book by Fred Hoyle, which is about the theory of stellar nuclear synthesis. It's interesting that Fred actually rejected the Big Bang Theory, so this fits quite nicely with the show. She also takes out a gold futuristic looking helmet. She later puts it on and enters a game of sorts at level 1. After things escalate, she takes this off, but whilst in there, she seems to enter another reality or dimension. This seems to be the key to understanding the universe, as it's later teased that they need to solve the puzzles to unlock the answers. We end the episode on a very trippy scene, as Augie and Sul watch the universe wink. That's right, the stars themselves flicker with this Morse code of numbers, which seems to reflect the countdown Augie is experiencing. My question around this is that if the universe is counting down in time with Augie, then is it either stuck on repeat, or does the universe count down differently depending on the observer? As if the other dead scientists also experience the countdown, but at different times, then surely the universe has to be repeating or counting down at different times simultaneously. Now obviously, Saul was counting Augie's countdown. Is this just because of the proximity? I would like to know if the other scientists were also approached by a mysterious stranger before their deaths. I wonder if they too saw a miracle, as it seems to me the start of the show asks a lot about beliefs and a greater being. Overall, this episode was great, visually stunning at times. Even the element of gore had such great detail, and that was something I didn't expect. But you can see that Game of Thrones influence the creators have on the show. Now I recommend watching this when you're wide awake, as the science element in this is strong. The discussion around theoretical physics and the possibility of other dimensions can be hard to grasp without your full attention. Something that did seem off though was the introduction of all the characters. Not only did this feel too much, the ages just didn't seem to sit right. Saul said he was 32, but looked considerably older, and the mysterious woman who spoke with Augie said, "You could always see the stars when I was younger." This seems like a weird thing to say, but is this because of where she grew up, or when she grew up, meaning that she's from a different time or dimension? I think time will definitely play a part in the series. As mentioned, we've not read the book. I'm assuming the VR game-like thing is part of this. Maybe the only way to win is to believe or something. With quite a few cast of Game of Thrones appearing in this, I half expected Kit Harington to come down from the sky as King of the Stars. Finally, we come to the name, Three Body Problem. I did a little research into this, so I'm wondering how this describes the show. We seem to have met a group of scientists, and looking at the trailer, at the end of the episode for the upcoming part, they all seem to venture into the game eventually. So does the name of the show just fall down to each of their movements in the game affecting the world differently? From how I understood it, it's a bit like the butterfly effect. So it'll be interesting to see how our group of friends change things, if that even is what they mean by this. And of course, usually at this point we'd throw out predictions and wild theories, but as the show has dropped completely on Netflix, it seems pointless. We will of course be binging the show and bringing you an ending explained later in the week, but I'd still like to know your thoughts of this first episode and what you thought about the universe winking. Would you wink back? Don't forget to hit that like button, leave us a comment and subscribe, and as always, we'll catch you next time with something new.